I'm going to be comparing both the movies that were put out by Angel Studios and the movies that were put out by the Kendrick brothers. To be clear, some of the movies the Kendrick brothers made or put out by the studio Sherwood Pictures. There's other movies that the Kendrick brothers did that aren't technically from Sherwood Pictures, but I'm combining all of them together in this video. When it comes to the highest score for each franchise, for each studio, in the case of Angel Studios, the highest score is a 91% for this movie called Cabrini that came out earlier on in 2024. When you look at the movies the Kendrick brothers put out, highest score is a 97% actually for Show Me the Father that came out in 2021. So Kendrick brothers wins this round. Then when you look at lowest score for each one, in the case of Angel Studios, the lowest score is a 37% for the movie called Shift that came out at the end of 2023. In the case of Sherwood Pictures or Kendrick Brothers, lowest score is actually a 16% for the movie Facing the Giants. So Angel Studios wins again. Then when you look at average score, Angel Studios has an average of 67, whereas when you look at all the movies that were done by the Kendrick brothers, you have an average of 55, so Angel Studios wins again. Then when you look at gap between lowest and highest score, in the case of Angel Studios, you have a gap of 54. Then in the case of the Kendrick brothers and Sherwood Pictures, you have a gap of 81, pretty high actually. So Angel Studios wins again, meaning it's going to win this debate regardless of my personal opinion because it's won every round so far. But let's look at that now. Which studio do I prefer? In the case of Angel Studios, I saw Sound of Freedom in theaters last year, along with actually the documentary After Death and the movie Shift. I actually quite enjoyed Shift. I thought this is a really interesting, different way to use the multiverse. It's quite different from a comic book movie like Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home, or even a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Because in the case of Shift, this is a Christian fantasy movie that is like a retelling of Job, one of the books of the Bible. Because you think about it, Job is about this man who's a loyal, faithful, obedient servant of God that ends up suffering horribly because the devil is like, hey, God, if I make this man suffer, he will curse you, he will hate you, he will turn against you. And God says to the devil, you have my permission to do what you will to my servant Job, but do not take his life. And so the devil proceeds to take everything other than Job's life away from him. But yet we see Job is so faithful, is so loyal, so obedient, he trusts God so much that he doesn't actually curse God, he doesn't hate God, and thus, by the end of the book, God greatly blesses Job. The movie Shift is dealing with similar ideas about this man who ends up remaining faithful, as in he still sees the good by the end of the movie rather than only seeing the bad. Because even though the villain's trying to tell him that God doesn't exist, if he did, why does he let you go through all this? But our main character, despite going through bad stuff, has seen the light. He's seen all the good that still exists, and thus he refuses to turn away from God. So the villain is defeated by the end of the story. I thought it was really interesting. I thought the acting was good. I liked the story being told. Thought it was pretty engaging. Liked the way it looked. In the case of Sound of Freedom, I think this is a very effective movie that's also inherently not particularly rewatchable. It's a tough watch because it's dealing with heavy subject matter. The movie does what it's trying to do incredibly well. It very quickly succeeds in building up in the audience a sense of dread and disgust toward the traffickers, where you go, ugh, you child traffickers are sick, twisted, perverted scumbags. I hope you get what you got coming to you for treating children in this manner or exploiting them in this manner. So you're just waiting for there to be justice for these crimes. And so when you get later on in the movie and there actually is justice, the traffickers get arrested. So you know they're going to be appropriately punished for their bad behavior. That makes you feel so good. Yes, the kids are going to be avenged. All the kids that were trafficked and that went through this horrible experience. I thought the main actor did a great job. The acting across the board is really good. I like the story being told here. It really hits hard because it makes you go, oh man, this evil practice, child trafficking, it exists in the world. Oh, that is just horrible. So the movie succeeds in getting you to feel the emotions it wants you to feel. For in particular, you have this one moment in the movie where this adult is about to do something really bad to a child, and you're like, no, main character, please stop him. And he does, and so satisfying. The case of After Death, I thought this was an effective documentary about different people's perspectives on near-death experiences. I haven't seen the other movies that Angel Studios has put out. In the case of the movies put out by Sherwood Pictures or the Kendrick brothers, I've seen a good amount of them. Not all of them, but I've seen Flywheel, Facing the Giants, Courageous, War Room, and Overcomer. I think these movies succeed in being effective for people who just like movies that have a good Christian message. You know, the kind of people that don't really care whether the message is subtle or not, whether it's done through storytelling or just done through monologuing at the audience. No. It's just, well, the movie delivered a message the movie preached a message that I agree with, so that makes it good. That's the kind of audience that these movies are going for. And I think they work being effective for those people. I mean, every time I've seen one of these movies, I've honestly enjoyed them. I mean, I can certainly see the reaction of, oh man, the end of Courageous, you have a character preaching. Oh, that's not subtle at all. It's like a jackhammer to the head. Yeah, that is true. Though these are certainly not the movies that are for everyone. But if I had to choose between Angel Studios or the movies put out by Sherwood Pictures, the Kendrick brothers, I would choose personally the movies put out by Sherwood Pictures or the Kendrick brothers, simply because I've seen more of them when compared to Angel Studios. But Angel Studios has won this debate. That'll be it for this video.